It's Nesta, and you're listening to the sunny side of sports on the Voice of America. I spoke with Kenyan sports journalist Nation Owano about the current state of football in the East African nation after it was suspended by FIFA a few weeks back for government interference. What led to Kenya's FIFA suspension?
The FIFA suspension that was announced by FIFA on the 24th of February was necessitated by the fact that the government had disbanded the Football Kenya Federation, which was the governing football body here in Kenya, and instead had instituted a caretaker committee that was the one that was supposed to be now overseeing football in the country. Just to take you a bit back, just before the government disbanded the Football Kenya Federation, there were calls from the government, or there was the arrest of the president of the Football Kenya Federation, that is Nick Mwendwa, on corruption allegations, of which later on he was released and the case was dismissed. So at the backdrop of all that is what led to the disbandment of the Football Kenya Federation.
This is not the first time that Kenya is actually suspended by FIFA. Such things have happened in the year 2004 when Kenya was suspended by FIFA, 2006 Kenya was suspended by FIFA, and now 2022 Kenya has been suspended by FIFA. In your opinion, how is this affecting the growth of football in Kenya?
This recent ban by FIFA is going to affect, or it has already started affecting football in the country. You know, Kenya actively participates in the CAF Champions League and also participates in the CAF Confederations Cup. So as it is right now, the clubs which are going to qualify to go into the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup are not going to be participating in that, in those two particular activities. Apart from that, a couple of weeks ago, that is the Harambee Starlets, were supposed to be playing the Crested Cranes of Uganda in a two-legged tie. The first tie was supposed to be played on February 17th, and then the return leg was supposed to be played on February 22nd. Because of all this fiasco of the government and FIFA, the disbanded CEO of the Football Kenya Federation, that is Barry Otieno, wrote a letter to CAF saying that the Football Kenya Federation was not in a position to hold the match that was supposed to be on February 17th. And in a way, if you're looking at it, it makes sense, because at the onset of all this drama between the government and the Football Kenya Federation, the governing body was locked out of their office, which is Kandanda House. So basically means that even if this particular match was going to be taking place, then, because that is the Football Kenya Federation, that they're the ones that are recognized by FIFA, will not have been able, to hold this particular match. But then on the flip side as well, you have to look at the situation where, as of the time that this particular match was going to be played, they're already out of office and a caretaker committee appointed by the government. So we're already seeing the ladies national team, that is the Harambee Starlets, being the first casualties of all this drama. Apart from that, some of the ways that Kenya might actually suffer a lot from this whole thing is basically means, we consider ourselves the hotbed of talents. In East Africa, we've seen decorated players playing in leagues across the world. One we have is Victor Wanyama, who played in the English Premier League. I also had the likes of McDonald Mariga. So with all this FIFA ban, it basically means that talented players from Kenya cannot get the opportunity to move to other leagues across the world. And then we know the ripple effect of that, Nesta, is talent is basically going to go to waste.
Kenya has bounced back from this before. It's not the first time, as I've mentioned, that Kenya has previously been suspended. Just give the listeners right now, a clue of how Kenya has bounced back from previous FIFA bans.
Yeah, let me we talk about the most recent ban that took place in November 2016, it was a 3-month ban that is from November 2016 to the 9th of March 2007. The way that they handled all this issue is they had a meeting with officials from FIFA. Out of that particular meeting with FIFA, they were to come with a way forward, to handling the whole issue. Some of the recommendations that were given at that particular time was the reduction of the teams that were playing in the league at the time. So the key way out of all this situation has always been FIFA has a conversation with the government and they find a way forward. The most common one has always been the formation of normalization committees that will constitute members from the government and from FIFA so that they find a solution to this. But as it is with the current situation, and at the beginning of all this issue, was FIFA had sent a recommendation to the government saying that they're supposed to reinstate the disbanded FKF, but the government was like, no. They had a hard line and like, we're not going to reinstate FIFA. So FIFA is like, if you're not going to reinstate, then we are going to ban you. So none of them wants to see eye to eye. So it's really hard to tell which way this whole issue is going to be taken forward, because as far as some of the reasons that probably led to the disbandment of the committee of the Football Kenya Federation was on corruption allegations. So the government side still reinstates that there's money that was lost, money that was disbursed to the Football Kenya Federation that has been lost, and it wants something done about it. But then FIFA is like, there's probably a better way to handle the whole issue. So with regards to this particular latest ban by FIFA, it's going to take a while before we clearly have the clear path on what is going to be done to solve the whole issue.
Interesting. And when two bulls are fighting, basically it's the grass that suffers the most. And in this case, I'm talking about Kenyan football fans. At the same time, I'm also talking about the players who are key stakeholders as far as, Kenyan football is concerned. And my question is basically, how is the mood like? How have people reacted to this? How have players reacted to this situation?
There's a lot of mixed reaction over this issue, because it's quite confusing, because from football lovers in the country, you'll expect them to say, oh, we do not support this ban. But there are people who are saying that this ban was necessary so that the football scene in Kenya is put back in order.
Lastly, in your opinion, what next for Kenyan football?
Mm-hmm. What next for Kenyan football? I think we should take this ban as an opportunity for us to reflect on how we want the football scene to be. If you are doing a comparison of some of the local run leagues, especially in the country, some of them are doing well because they are well organized. And the conversation that has always been here in the country in Kenya is football scene has not been so organized. So I feel like when we have this done during the time of this ban, I think it's time for us to reflect and put our house in order so that when the ban is eventually lifted, because as a football lover and a sports journalist, I personally believe that it's going to be lifted at one point or another, so that by the time it's lifted, we've at least had time to reflect and we have our house in order so that we can compensate that for the lost time during this whole time of the ban by FIFA.
Then Kenyan sports journalist Nation One was sharing his thoughts on the state of football in the country, and he spoke with me from Nairobi, Kenya. Legendary VOA sports broadcaster Sunny Young was joined by the Malian big man, Sheikh Theone of the VOA's French to Africa service, and Rolton Boyson, the head coach of the BL's Cape Town Tigers team, on the English Basketball African League podcast.
Sporty greetings to all our Basketball Africa League fans. My name is Sonny Young. Thank you for joining us for this special Voice of America Basketball Africa League podcast. We'll check on the line this evening. Our special guest from Cape Town, South Africa is Relton Boyson, the head coach of the Cape Town Tigers basketball team. They'll tip off their debut Basketball Africa League appearance next month in Cairo, Egypt. Coach, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me here, Sonny. Thanks for having me here.
Coach B, can you make some general comments about the quality of basketball that you saw in Dakar during the Sahara Conference games?
Sonny, I must confess, the quality of basketball is much, much higher than what it was in Season 1 of the Basketball Africa League. Much more competitive. Defensive is much more organized. So the Basketball Africa League is really kicking off on a very high note in 2022.
Absolutely. It was a very competitive coach, like you said it. My experience from watching last year, Sonny, it was way much better competitive-wise and recruitment-wise, and also more game and organization. And as we saw, the president of Basketball Africa League, Gallo Fall, stated, he said he see an improvement from talent-wise for every level that this year's took place in Senegal. I agree with him. Basketball-wise, I really think it was a very, very enjoyable than that last year.
And the English Basketball African League podcast wraps up the March 18th edition of the Sunny Side of Sports. Sunny will be back to steer the sports aircraft on Monday, but from me, I do hope you have yourself a wonderful weekend. Thanks to Voice of America producer Nadia Taha, and thank you for tuning in.